I opened my eyes in a strange apartment and 2 wedding rings on my finger. The real shock? 2 different men claimed to be my husband. A slow hum filled Olivia Hart's ears as she stirred in bed. The morning light slanted through white curtains, touching her face with a soft golden warmth. Her eyes fluttered open. She blinked. Where am I? The room was unfamiliar, massive, elegant, luxurious. White marble floors, a sleek modern dresser, a chandelier above her. And on the far side, a man stood by the window, dressed in a crisp shirt and slacks, sipping coffee. "Olivia," he said, noticing her. "You're awake." She frowned. "Who are you?" He smiled gently and sat beside her. "I'm Ethan. Ethan Walker. Your husband." She tried to sit up. A searing headache gripped her. "My husband?" she echoed, bewildered. "You were in a car accident 2 weeks ago. Mild concussion. The doctor said you might experience some temporary memory loss." He held her hand. She stared at him. He was handsome, model, perfect jawline, warm brown eyes, expensive watch on his wrist. "I don't remember anything," she whispered. "That's okay," he said. "You will. I've been taking care of you." He guided her around the house. The closet was filled with designer clothes. The bathroom had monogrammed towels with O&E. Everything seemed polished, curated, almost too perfect. Over the next 2 days, Olivia tried to adjust. Ethan cooked for her, showed her their wedding photos, told her about their life together. They met 3 years ago, he said, at a charity gala. Fell in love fast. Got married in Italy. It felt like someone else's life, but every time she stared at her reflection, she saw confusion staring back. Her memories, none of them, matched the world she was living in. Then it happened. On the 3rd morning, someone banged at the door. Ethan opened it. A man stormed in, tall, rugged, dark stubble on his jaw. His blue eyes locked onto Olivia. "There you are," he said. Olivia froze. The man's voice. It sent a shiver down her spine. "Who are you?" Ethan snapped. "I'm Jake Morrison," the stranger growled. Her husband. The truth behind the rings. The room exploded with tension. Ethan shoved Jake back. "You're insane. I have the marriage certificate right here," Jake shouted, pulling out a folded document. "Olivia married me. In Texas. 2 years ago." Olivia's head spun. "No," Ethan said, laughing nervously. "He's lying. Baby, don't listen to him. He's obsessed with you." Jake's voice softened. "Olivia, look at me. You know me. You feel it, don't you?" Her heartbeat stuttered. "The rings." She looked down at her left hand. 2 bands. 2 wedding rings. That night, while Ethan was asleep, she crept into a guest room and opened the drawer. Inside was a small burnt journal. The last few pages survived. "Ethan's too perfect. Too polished. I don't trust him. Jake, I miss him. His touch, his smile. I feel like I'm being watched." Tears filled her eyes. The next morning, she told Ethan she wanted to visit the hospital. He refused. "You don't need outside opinions. They'll just confuse you." That was the final straw. She contacted Jake secretly. Jake brought her more proof, photos of them together, video messages she recorded months ago, and texts. Memories started flooding back. She remembered meeting Jake in Austin, their impulsive wedding under the stars, the tiny apartment they rented, the art studio she opened. She remembered running from him after a terrible fight. She met Ethan while working a catering job. He comforted her. She made a mistake. She stayed. But when she tried to leave Ethan, he wouldn't let her. He pushed her, literally, down the stairs. The accident. Ethan erased her past, paid doctors, created fake documents. She confronted him with Jake beside her. "You don't love me," she said. "You controlled me. I gave you everything," Ethan snarled. "And you threw it away for him?" "I never stopped loving him," Olivia said, stepping back. Ethan was arrested for assault, fraud, and coercion. The news spread quickly. ACO's dark obsession exposed. Months later, Olivia stood in a small flower garden wearing a white dress. Jake stood in front of her, holding her hands. "Let's start over," he said. "I'd love that," she whispered. 2 rings. 1 heart. This time, she chose. And this time, it was real. The missing year, just when Olivia thought her past was finally behind her, she received a letter that changed everything. It arrived in an unmarked envelope. No sender. Just her name, scrawled in familiar handwriting. Inside, a photo. Olivia with a baby boy with dark curls and her own green eyes. In the picture, she looked tired but glowing. The timestamp? 11 months ago. Her hands trembled. "Jake," she whispered, showing him the photo. "Why don't I remember this?" They rushed to the hospital that had treated her after the fall. Jake demanded full records. What they found shattered them. During her recovery, Ethan had not only altered her documents, but also arranged for their baby, born in secret, to be taken away. Olivia had been pregnant when she left Jake. When she arrived at Ethan's estate after the fight, she was already in her second trimester. The fall had induced premature labor. She gave birth unconscious. Ethan had forged paperwork and sent the baby to a private care facility under a different name. He'd planned to raise the boy himself, using him to anchor Olivia's loyalty. "But where is he now?" Olivia asked, her voice cracking. Jake squeezed her hand. "We'll find him. I promise." The next week was a whirlwind of lawyers, detectives, and dead ends. Finally, they tracked the child to a quiet, upscale foster home. The caretakers had no idea of the deception. They'd been told the mother died in labor. Olivia fell to her knees the moment she saw her son. He looked at her with wide, curious eyes. She whispered his name through tears. Caleb. She and Jake fought another legal battle, this time for custody. With overwhelming evidence of fraud and abuse from Ethan, the court granted them full guardianship. Months passed. Their new life wasn't easy. Parenthood brought sleepless nights and emotional healing. But every moment with Caleb reminded Olivia of what really mattered. Not money, not luxury, not fantasy, but truth, love, and family. And when she tucked Caleb into bed and Jake kissed her goodnight, Olivia finally felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, whole. The final test. Olivia's life had finally found peace, or so she believed. Caleb giggled in the garden while Jake painted a mural on the backyard wall, Olivia snapping photos of them both, her heart full. But a single phone call threatened to shatter it all again. "Mrs. Morrison?" a voice said, cold and crisp. "This is Detective Lynn from NYPD. We've located a hidden property under Ethan Walker's name. We believe it may contain sensitive materials related to your case." Olivia's chest tightened. She and Jake flew to New York the next day. The property was a secret penthouse Ethan kept, filled with encrypted devices, journals, and a locked safe. What they found inside stunned them. A file labeled Project Venus. It outlined Ethan's long-term manipulation plan. Olivia hadn't been the first. He targeted other women, artists, entrepreneurs, women with ambition. He used money, charm, and false identities. Olivia had merely been the one who got too close. The file included photos of other women, their personal details, and in some cases, they had disappeared. "I was part of something much bigger," Olivia whispered. Jake took her hand. "We can't let this go." They handed the files to the FBI. A larger investigation began. Olivia testified in court again, not just for herself, but for all the women silenced by Ethan's games. Months passed. One day, she received a letter in the mail. A simple thank you from one of the missing women, found and reunited with her family because of Olivia's courage. Olivia sat by Caleb's bed that night, whispering a promise into the dark. "You'll grow up in a world where your mother fought for what's right." Jake stood behind her, wrapping his arms around her shoulders. They had survived deceit, manipulation, and loss. Now they lived in truth. Not a perfect life, but a real one. And for Olivia, that was more than enough. Part 5. When the past comes knocking. 6 months had passed since Ethan's empire collapsed and his crimes were exposed. Olivia was finally settling into her new life. Her days were filled with laughter, Caleb's first steps, his giggles, and Jake's steady love. They'd bought a cozy 2-story home in a quiet Seattle suburb, with ivy-covered fences and a garden where Olivia planted lilies every morning. The scent reminded her of freedom. She was painting again, Her studio was filled with sunlight, blank canvases, and inspiration. The trauma hadn't left, but it no longer owned her. She painted her healing, one stroke at a time, until the letter arrived. It came in a plain envelope. No return address. Just one sentence typed on clean white paper. "You forgot what I still remember." Olivia's heart froze. The handwriting wasn't Ethan's. It was typed. Cold. Anonymous. She showed it to Jake. "Probably someone playing a sick joke," he said, trying to stay calm. But his hand tightened slightly around hers. The next day, her studio door was ajar when she came home. She never left it unlocked. Inside, nothing was missing, except one thing, the old journal she'd kept during her time with Ethan. The one that had survived the fire. The one that held every detail of his manipulations. Olivia knew it then. Someone else was involved. Someone who still wanted to silence her. They reported it to Detective Lynn in New York. She reviewed the case files. "There are still names on Ethan's network we haven't identified," she admitted. "It's possible someone else has access to his blackmail archives." Olivia started receiving encrypted emails. Photos of her and Jake with Caleb at the park. Threats to stay quiet. It was happening again. The past clawing its way into her peace. But this time, Olivia was not the same woman who had woken up in a stranger's bed, questioning her own mind. She was stronger. She was a mother. She was a fighter. Jake contacted a cyber investigator. They traced the emails to a storage unit in New Jersey, registered under a false name connected to one of Ethan's old shell companies. Inside, they found a computer. On its hard drive, hundreds of hidden files. Videos, photos, and confessionals from dozens of victims. And one chilling recording. A woman's voice, shaking. "Ethan told me I was the only one. But there was another. An artist. He said she was his real obsession. Her name was Olivia." Olivia stared at the screen, breathless. "I was the blueprint," she whispered. A week later, Olivia was summoned to testify in front of a federal task force. Her testimony helped launch multiple arrests tied to Ethan's trafficking and psychological abuse ring. His network wasn't just romantic. It was financial, manipulative, and deeply criminal. In court, she stood tall, not just as a survivor, but as a protector. One by one, other women came forward. The circle widened. Truth spread. For the first time, Olivia realized her pain had not been in vain. She'd lit the match, and the darkness was finally burning. A canvas call tomorrow. 1 year later, Olivia stood in her art gallery, the first show she had curated since regaining her freedom. The title? Waking Up. Each painting told a chapter. Love, betrayal, loss, motherhood, justice. At the center of the exhibit was her final piece, a portrait of Caleb and Jake, sunlight spilling over them like a promise. That night, after the exhibit ended, Olivia stepped outside with Jake and Caleb. The stars above blinked in silence. "Do you think it's over now?" Jake asked quietly. Olivia looked up, her voice steady. "I don't think stories like ours ever truly end. But we get to decide how the next chapter begins." Jake kissed her forehead. And together, hand in hand, they walked home, ready to begin again.